Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matt with TCG. Today is all about a Market Monday. We're going to be looking at the market. What are things doing? What's going on in the market? And where should you be focusing your time, effort, and energy, whether you're a collector or you are like me and a reseller? I want to talk about those different perspectives on each of these Monday kind of market videos because I think it's important that we keep in mind just the different perspectives and approaches to the hobby because we're going to choose to do and engage in the hobby in different ways. But to get started, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested about what the market's doing, we're going to look at some of the mostly today we're looking at just pack prices. I'm going to single out a couple promos that have caught my eye recently. And so one is currently being pumped right now. I'll talk about that just real fast. Like that'll be the first thing I talk about. And then we're going to look at single prices of some of the newer sets. We're not looking at Dustin Rivals. We're going to look at Mega for a little bit, but we're really stepping a step back, looking at Prismatic back to about Stellar, Twilight, Shrouded Fable, those eras. Because these are still kind of the newer kind of block, the later block of Scarlet and Violet that I think we should all be very curious about and watching kind of closely. Because if Pokemon is actually going to reprint and like really push product out, it's going to be for these later sets. And Pokemon said that they were primarily going to be focusing on Prismatic and after that, but I wanted to take a look at Prismatic, but take a couple steps back as well, just to get a good sense of what's happening. So if you don't mind, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. If you enjoy the content, let me know down below. I'll make more Monday market videos. This is kind of a semi-regular, semi-consistent video idea and series that I have going on. This is actually the second one in the series, and I might actually get this one out on Monday. That's a big deal. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. I want to look at a couple promos. This is kind of separate from the overall market and pack conversation we're going to have. The first one that is up is going to be this Psyduck from Mega Evolutions. This is a promo, Cosmo promo. And this thing is actively being pumped right now, okay? This thing came out the gate hot at around $10. It's a beautiful card. I mean, Psyduck chilling with the lily pads and the flowers. Like, this is amazing. It was already about $10, and just recently it's pumped 100% up to about $20 right now. I am going to shill a little bit. If you want to jump on TCG Player over at rartcg.com is where you can find a link to my pro seller site. I'm selling this at like 90% of market to anybody that wants to jump on my pro seller site and scoop it up. Do I recommend doing that? Not necessarily, because this is a pump situation. So if you want the card for a couple dollars cheaper than what it's going for right now, jump over to TCG Player, check out my pro seller site, found it at rartcg.com, and you can pick it up there for a couple dollars cheaper. But I promise that there's going to be a correction here. And will it pump to $30, correct down to 20, or will it pump to 25 and then correct down to like $12? We don't know. That's the thing. None of us know the future, but this is an interesting situation. So if you're sitting on a couple of these Psyducks and you just love the card, man, it's hard to know. But in a typical situation like this, I would say sell what you have and then jump back in at a later date. We know that Mega is going to be reprinted for a while to come, and there should be more opportunities to dive in and get this card at a cheaper price. But things are crazy right now, and I don't want to make that guarantee and you sell a card that you love and then never be able to get it back. So just take that with a grain of salt, but I know a lot of people are taking that approach right now that have TCG Player accounts and actively sell. The Golduck, which is just a beautiful pair of cards, like the Psyduck and the Golduck, both in the same setting. The Golduck is swimming through the pond, the Psyduck is chilling. The Golduck's like worth 80 cents, guys. So there must be a grading premium on this card, or literally it's just being manipulated and pumped to the moon right now. I'm not sure. I don't know all the details. The second promo I want to look at today is actually a promo that I picked up. It's actually a sealed pre-release deck, actually, that I got from a collection back in about January, February time. It's the biggest collection I'd ever bought at the time. It had a ton of Sword and Shield trainers in it. I've since sold through those trainers to get my margins back, but this one, this Lost Origins, you can kind of see it on the screen now. This Lost Origins deck just stood out to me, was screaming my name, and so I put it up in the vault, which is my closet, and that's where we're at. Where are we at now? Yes, it's the Gengar stamped promo pre-release sealed deck. So when I saw this in the collection, I was like, that's special, and we're gonna put it back. At the time I bought it back in January, it had just recently gone on a run. It had just recently gone from about $2 to $8. And when I bought that, I was like, dang, that card alone is worth $8. It blew my mind. I was like, there's no way. How could this stamped regular Gengar from Lost Origins be worth that much? Well, guess what? Now it's worth between $20 and $25. So just like a little word of wisdom there is, if you see something, like if you're a reseller, you see something in a collection that you buy that catches your eye, don't fret about putting that stuff back. If you believe in it, that's totally fine. You don't have to sell that right away. You can let that sit. And in a situation, in a market like today, those things can skyrocket and go crazy, guys. And just know, like, in the case where you buy a collection, you spend a large amount of your like liquid cash on it, and you need to sell that to get your margin quickly, that's perfectly fine. I was in a situation where I could put this $8 card away and not have to worry about that. So just keep that in mind as you move forward. So swishing, we're switching gears here to more of the market conversation, and we're gonna look at some of the single pack prices. Let's start with Mega. First of all, Mega is holding so strong at the $9 pack price. This is crazy because I've honestly seen, I would say, a good amount of Mega out in the open, not necessarily at my Targets and Walmarts. Those are typically sold out. But I have been able, anytime I walk into an LGS, there's some Mega on the shelves, and you may have to pay a little bit inflated, a little bit above MSRP, but you can buy Mega for between $6 and $7 from LGSs, and I think that's a great deal for how good of a set it is. And I don't know if I would necessarily really be upset about spending $6 to $7 on a Mega pack, to be honest. So Mega's holding really strong. That second wave should be here anytime now. Like as I'm speaking, it could be being delivered to LGSs. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens when that second wave, that second release is unleashed on the market. Are we going to see things kind of sink down? Is the price going to, kind of like retreat back closer to like $6 or $7? Is it going to, what's going to happen? How quickly will the market consume that? Because remember, one of the biggest interesting things about right now when I'm recording this video, which is October 13th, 2025, is the fact that a lot of people are projecting, really led by Rudy from Alpha Investments, a lot of people are projecting that the market is going to stabilize and maybe even correct down a little bit further. On some of these big items that have seen runs, we've seen about a 10 or 15% retracement, if you can even call it that. It's not a crash by any means, but it is interesting that a lot of these like YouTubers that were just a week or 2 weeks ago saying that this was going to run up until the 30th anniversary are now pulling that back and falling more in line with what Alpha Investments has said, that we should see a pretty flat and stable market over the next several months, and maybe another run after that. No one's calling necessarily, not that I've seen at least, no one's calling for a straight market crash, but if you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm a little bit more bearish on this. I think that we will see a large retracement in the Pokemon market, and I think we're on thin ice. I think that demand is subsiding a little bit. There's been so much demand, so much spending lately, that it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. I don't think it's going to take a lot. I think we're on thin ice, and as soon as Pokemon shows that they are going to print to demand, as soon as they start upping that, we're going to see a lot of people retreat out of the hobby that have been kind of taking advantage of the situation, especially with a more flat situation, if that's where we're heading, like Rudy from Alpha Investments thinks. Then if we're flat and then supply increases, it nudges up, then that's going to cause this trickle like waterfall effect from all. It's going to wash out a lot of stuff, in my opinion. And I don't think that's going to throw us into a full-blown bear market, but I do think we'll see some large corrections. And it'll be a great time to really enjoy and collect and buy in the hobby. So let's go ahead and go pretty quickly here through the rest of these packs I want to highlight, because as I said, I don't think this is a crash, what we're experiencing right now. These pack prices are still very strong, very much above MSRP. We're not talking double MSRP by any means. Even Prismatic right now at like, I think Prismatic is somewhere around $9 per pack. Like, it's pretty stable. It's pretty safe, guys. So let's go ahead and go through these. Shrouded Fable, start with the back side of it. $8.2, $8.25. That's pretty high. That's pretty crazy, but this is an older set. It's getting older, more rare, not printed as much. Twilight Masquerade's around $7. Stellar Crown's about $7.25. That's pretty impressive. Stellar is not a beloved set, but again, not a set that maybe Pokemon's super focused on printing. And so just by the scarcity, by how rare it is to find these days, outside of just the random drops in like product from GameStop and stuff like that, that could be why it's kind of pushing up into that $7 to $8 range. Surging Sparks is really strong, $8. I think that Surging has kind of like found its niche, right? I think it's in its sweet spot. Outside of a major correction in the market, I think that Surging will always kind of be in this like upper middle range for all pack sets from Scarlet and Violet. I think it's a very strong set. I think people like it a lot. Is it the best set of the era? Probably not. Probably not, but it will be on the upper side of it, in my opinion. And then Journey Together is at $7.50. These are really the main the main sets I wanted to look at in this video, just to showcase that like none of these sets are below $7. We are not even, in my opinion, we're not even close to MSRP yet. Yes, these are encouraging. Yes, seeing some stabilization, some flatness in the market is encouraging, but it's not necessarily indicative of a crash. And I think that's what's really important to note. Your approach as a collector right now, I think, should still be to find product as cheap as possible. I'm not saying that you should wait in line for hours at GameStop or Walmart for restocks, but I am saying check out some of your LGSs. I promise, like every week I've walked into my local LGSs, I've found Mega. It's been really exciting for about $6 to $7. So take advantage of those opportunities. Find some LGSs in your area. If you've only stuck to Target, like GameStop, Best Buy, branch out. Check out some of these LGSs. I'm not going to promise that every LGS you walk into is going to be an amazing experience, but there are some really, really great ones out there that would love and could use your support. So check that out. Great opportunity to buy packs at cheaper prices. If you're a reseller, you just need to be buying and selling. And no matter what the market's doing, you need to buy and sell. Don't over leverage yourself. Don't go all in on Prismatic right now being $9, because chances are right around the corner there may be another drop and could drop that to $7. But you should be buying and selling, buy at a percentage of market to make sure you can make your margins. But for the reseller, there's never not a buying season. There's never not a buying market. How you buy and your strategy around making money will shift and change differently depending on what's happening in the market. But the opportunities are always there. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. A little bit jumbled up there. And I hope that you have a great rest of your week. Peace, y'all.